You lied to me, liar! You are no bun bee.
In my last video in October, I held a contest for viewers to guess my deep, dark secret. Here is a hint. I am a myth, but also real. Implausible to catch or steal. I can talk, I can sing. Hard liquor is my king. Milk me only if you seek death steal.
I'll have the truth from ye, Bunby waifu, and I'll have it now. And I know you're near, little fake Bunby. I can smell your lies.
Oh, Jeebus! Hi everybody! Today I will be summarizing the 12th century story, The Knight of the Cart. The book I'll be reading from is The Complete Romances of Chretien De Troyes, the first Midland book edition from 1993. Now for context. The author, Chretien De Troyes, is actually an anonymous individual as their pen name simply means a Christian of Troyes. Troyes. I don't know, I can't pronounce stuff. This is a French Christian romance that was actually commissioned by a noble lady, Marie de Champagne, a rich fangirl of courtly love. Or, so the story goes. It's kind of debatable, actually. But we'll go with that because it's funnier that way. Anyways, she provided the source material and the themes to the anonymous Chretien, who really was not digging this. As a devout Christian, he was pretty against courtly love. But his friend really wanted him to write a fanfic about this new character and the queen having a romance together. And by golly, he was going to give his friend what she wanted. And by that I mean he basically treated the project like a big joke and then didn't even finish it. Then he just had a clerk write the ending. Sound believable? Well, that's one theory to the creation of this story. Another theory is that either Chretien on his own, or together with Marie, collaborated on writing an Arthurian genre spoof, mocking the absurdity of the courtly love phenomenon as it was currently evolving in their time. But either way it goes, this is the first introduction of a particular character in Arthurian literature. And he remains unnamed until about page 40 or so. You guys will never guess who it is. But for the next part of the intro, I'd actually like to dive into the scholarly information I found in regards to this story. For those of you who aren't particularly interested in this kind of thing, feel free to skip ahead to part 1. As for the rest of you, let's get down to some quoting. Chretien De Troyes, perhaps born in Troyes and or lived in the city, medieval romancer. His extant poetry includes 3 finished romances, Eric and Enid, Cleges, The Knight with the Lion, as well as 2 unfinished romances, The Knight of the Cart and The Story of the Grail. He also wrote 2 short lyric poems. He may be the author of another romance, William of England. Thus reads the biography of Chretien De Troyes, the foremost poet of 12th century France. Even so spare a sketch is filled with hypotheses, however. Of almost no other major writer in the Middle Ages do we know so little. No records of the day offer any details about the man. All we have are his own brief comments in his romances. And with these, we have to create a portrait of the writer who is accurately called the father of Arthurian romance and who is, indeed, the creator of medieval romance. From the opening of The Knight of the Cart, we know that Chretien was associated with the court of Champagne. The romance opens with extended praise of Marie. Since my lady of Champagne wills me to undertake the making of a romance, I shall undertake it with great goodwill, as one so wholly devoted that he will do anything in the world for her, without any intention of flattery. But another man might begin this in order to flatter her, he would say, and I could only agree, that she surpasses all living ladies as a south wind blowing in April or May surpasses all winds. On my word, I am not one who would flatter his lady. Shall I say, the Countess is worth as much in queens as a precious gem is worth in brocades and semi-precious stones? No, indeed. I shall say nothing of this, though it is true despite my silence. I shall say only that her command is more important in this undertaking than any thought or effort I may expend. Christian is beginning his book of the Knight of the Cart. The Countess presents him with the matter and the meaning, and he undertakes to shape the work, adding little to it except his effort and his careful attention. Okay, now, I have to admit, when I read that, especially out loud, all I hear is trollololol. Chretien's opening letter to Marie, before the story even begins, is already taking a jab at courtly love. Hell, it's dripping with so much sardonicism, I feel like I need ointment for that sick burn! I'm thinking they're both parodying courtly love as it exists in their time. In The Development of Arthurian Romance, Roger Sherman Loomis has this to say. The origin of the matière is not hard to determine, though complete agreement on the subject will never be attained. The precise nature of the scène, the controlling idea which the Countess Marie required the poet to express through the matière, presents a subtle problem. Though it is obvious that Lancelot exemplifies an ideal of amatory conduct by his idolatrous, even sacrilegious attitude towards his lady, and that this is the scène of the poem, did Marie wish us to take that ideal seriously or to find it absurd? In other words, did she command Chretien to treat Lancelot with admiration or irony? A second difficulty is to be found in Chretien's treatment of Lancelot. Was it intended to be serious, or was it intended as burlesque? Again, scholarly opinion has tended to shift from the former alternative to the latter. Few modern readers would deny that there is deliberate exaggeration in the lengths to which Lancelot's frenzy carries him, and in the humiliations to which he meekly submits. It seems that many medieval readers, including the author of the prose Lancelot, took these aberrancies rather solemnly. But Chretien was far too sane. His Lancelot is a caricature, a Don Quixote. That this is what the Countess also intended may be questioned, but the probability is that she and the poet understood each other. What was it that Chretien was caricaturing? Here there can be little doubt. It was the religion of love which for about a century had gradually spread through the literary circles of southern France. Now, I'll get back to this in another video because it's actually really cool and talks a lot about courtly love and how it evolved. But for now, I'm going to read the last paragraph about this on page 54. To return to Chretien, it seems most likely that at the command of his patroness, he deliberately burlesqued the extravagances, the posturings of certain knightly practitioners of fin amour. He performed his task with thoroughness and with a rather obvious humor. Apparently, though, he was too subtle for many readers of his own and the next generation, for they seem to have thought Lancelot the ideal of a lover, even if he was a bit extreme in his idolatry. How else can one explain his appearance, with all his idiosyncrasies, as the hero of the huge prose romance, which remained a bestseller for 300 years? Well, what do you all think? Was Chretien Marie's beleaguered literary bitch? Was Chretien making a mockery of the material that Marie provided him with? Or were they both snickering behind the scenes about their silly little courtly love spoof? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and please look forward to part 1 of The Knight of the Cart, coming soon to a YouTube near you.